Happy Halloween. But anyways, in all seriousness, welcome back to another episode of Raunchy Reviews. This is the second part to our kind of Halloween special. This time we're going to be reviewing the second installment in Rob Zombie's Halloween series, which is just Halloween 2. There's another one. I don't really want to get into the other one. Let's jump into this Rob Zombie one and see what it's all about.
So the main characters for this movie is Laurie, who later finds out that she's Angel Myers, Michael Myers, Sam Loomis, Sheriff Brackett, and Annie Brackett. And they actually have a different kid actor for Michael in this because the original kid actor aged too much.
So one thing in this movie that's kind of different from any other Halloween movie is that Michael sees visions of his mom in this white horse. That's something that Rob Zombie completely came up with just for this movie. It adds a little bit more to the character of Michael, but it does feel like it was just kind of placed in there because we even do get callbacks to when Michael's in the sanitarium. Her mom brings him a white horse, which is, technically only seen in this one. In the first one, in the credits, you see him smashing a horse, but I don't think that really means anything. It could have, and that maybe is the inspiration for why he did that, but
yeah, I wouldn't know.
So Annie and Laurie's relationship in this is really rocky. Even from the first scene that we see them in, it starts out where we kind of think that their relationship is going to go one way, and even the theatrical cut brings it that way. But in this, it completely brings it into another realm where Laurie's kind of fed up at the world, it feels, and Annie's really not having it either. And there's even this one scene where Laurie is talking to her therapist and she says that Annie's a constant reminder that of that Halloween night from the first movie. And that's kind of why she just yells and screams at her most of the time. Kind of a sad way to think about it, but Laurie in this is also just really annoying. So, I don't know. It's hard to really relate with her character, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like Laurie's really gone in a downward spiral in this movie from the first one, because in the first probably half of the original, she was very kind of most kind and lighthearted character of the movies, of the movie. Then her character is just completely flipped over, and she is now just like the one dreary one who...
She kind of became like a punk rocker.
Yeah, she kind of hangs out with a group of stoners now at a music...
Is it a music thing or is it like a coffee joint? I think it was a coffee joint. Just another thing with Laurie, she also has this psychic connection with Michael in the sense that when Michael is eating something, she'll kind of, I guess, taste it or something and start throwing up from it. That's what I kind of got.
I don't know.
They got some sort of psychic link because they can even, they see the same visions of their mother. There's even, I guess, a part in the climax where she's, being held down by a kid, Michael Myers, who is not actually there. Which adds an extra layer to the whole thing, I think.
Yeah, which, is she as crazy as Michael Myers,
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe her whole family's that messed up, but in the first one, she was very normal, so is it just what he did that turned her into this?
Yeah, that's actually a really great way to think about it. Now bringing up Sam Loomis, his character in this completely lacks sympathy now. I feel like he says that he has great sympathy for people, but I feel like he's faking it just because he now made another book off of technically the deaths of a bunch of other people again.
Yeah, now he's just making money off that and profiting off, the despair of others, which isn't cool.
I mean, I kind of like and hate it, though, so...
Yeah. One of my favorite characters in this was probably Sheriff Brackett, because I don't know if he changed a lot from the first one, but I feel like he might have been focused on a little more, and he wasn't necessarily one of the more main characters in this, but through his scenes, he was one of the better acted and performed characters, I think.
Yeah.
So, this movie picks up right after the first Halloween movie, and it shows how Laurie, Loomis, and the other survivors are dealing with the whole events. And it shows that Michael is ready to go back on a killing spree and become family again with Laurie.
So, this movie is generally a character study, just seeing how everyone dealt with the event. So, in that regard, it is really cool because it does kind of bring in that psychological element again from the first movie that I liked. But I mean, the plot of this movie I do feel is kind of non-existent because kind of
very
just
much all over the place.
Yeah, we're shown the events of the first movie, and then we're then jumped 2 years into the future, and then we kind of see what they're all about, and then everyone just kind of dies in the end.
Then everyone dies.
So, I mean, in that regard, the plot in this is really not there.
Yeah, it's very kind of lackluster.
So the filmmaking. One thing that I think is kind of added more into this movie than the other one, he adds a lot more film grain to this one, and I don't know if that's because of the lower budget or if that's just something he wanted to add in this one, but I think it kind of adds to the grunginess of this movie and almost makes it feel like it was like a low budget, like real thing that happened, you know?
Mm-hmm. The gore and everything in this movie is really good, and probably almost as good as the first one. And I'd say actually there's one scene that's way more gruesome than probably any of the scenes in the first movie, which is where Laurie's getting stitched up after her.
Yeah.
Dude, it just makes you look away, and it makes your stomach turn, and it's...
Yeah, like, they had some amazing prosthetics, and whatever they did was completely nasty.
Yeah, it was just gross to look at. I don't even know if we could show that on the...
I don't know, I'm pretty sure that's in the theatrical cut, but I'm pretty sure they extended it longer in the...
Yeah, it is just a gross scene.
So one more thing I wanted to say before moving on is that Rob Zombie actually disowns these movies now. Or, well, kind of in the regard that he kind of just hates that he made these because there was so much studio interfering, and apparently he hates the second one even more because the studio interference got even worse. You know how in the dream sequence, Michael starts tearing apart that little shed or whatever she's hiding out in with an axe? Apparently that was supposed to be like all fake balsa wood stuff that's easy to break, but no, they gave him a real one. And then Rob Zombie told him, alright, let's see if you can fucking break this. And then he just goes ham at it. So that's actually him, like, destroying a real thing, which is funny.
One of the funniest scenes in this is actually kind of in one of the weirdest parts of the film, which is they have Michael and one of the dead girls in the coroner's van or whatever you want to call it, and they're talking about how one of them was getting a hard-on, and like there were people having sex with corpses and was getting turned on thinking about it or something, and I don't know, just a gross scene. And then it just immediately goes into the dude yelling,
You're like, cow! Cow!
and then there's just a cow in the middle of the road and a huge crash, and it's just one of the funniest scenes.
I love it so much because when they actually hit the cow like destroys the
cow.
car.
Doesn't move,
but then gets launched so far. It's amazing.
Then there's also another early part in the film was the dream sequence in the hospital. It is very scary, and it's really suspenseful because you never know when Michael is actually going to get there, and then you have the weird music in the background the entire time, and it's just a very eerie kind of background and everything.
Yeah, and then it even shows, like, because, like, the first kill that Michael, or, well, I guess the second kill that he does to, I think, what's her name? Octavia Spencer? Just, like, stabs her brutally in the back and stuff. It's just so aggressive, and I love how brutal Michael is in this, too.
Yeah.
What did you think of in the hospital sequence when there's just a bunch of dead bodies in a bucket together?
when she just falls into the dumpster full of dead bodies. I thought Michael Myers must have some major OCD or something, because to put all of the bodies from the entire hospital in one place before anyone realized he was actually killing anyone is just an amazing feat.
It is truly amazing, but I mean, you can't fault it because I guess it's technically a dream sequence, so it doesn't make sense. So, some of my favorite kills in this movie were the ones at the Rabbit in Red strip club. I think it makes sense because that's where his mom stripped in the first movie, so he technically knew that, and would probably maybe resent the place or whatever. And that's why I kind of liked it. And I think my favorite kill of it is when he just grabs that dude outside, slams him to the ground, just stomps on his
starts
head.
stomping his face.
Oh my god.
And then you see his like crushed skull hanging up and everything.
Oh, it was so great. I mean, and I guess I couldn't lie. It was kind of, it wasn't funny, but it was brutal as hell watching him slam that naked chick up against a mirror.
Oh no, some things are just messed up. I don't think they would be filmed unless Rob Zombie was a director.
Yeah, like this movie definitely goes, I think, just full on brutalness.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my favorite scenes in this movie is a really weird scene again, because it just has Weird Al Yankovic in it. It's so Sam Loomis goes on to like this talk show, and the other guest star is Weird Al Yankovic, which I don't know why he's in this movie, but I absolutely love it. I think my favorite line from him is "Snap." He just snaps Sam Loomis. Oh, it's just a great scene.
Just a very out of place scene for this movie. It's just, it completely breaks up like the whole vibe of the movie, and it kind of disrupts it. But
I do think the climax of this movie though is pretty good. I know you don't think that, but I really like the climax. How it starts with the party, you know, like the rockin' party. It goes home where they actually find Annie dead. It completely ramps up even more because now Michael Myers knows where Laurie is, and Sam Loomis gets in there, and then all the police like surround the shack that he's holding Laurie in, and I feel like it was a pretty satisfying way to end them. At least the way Rob Zombie let the characters off. I feel this way at least. They had some closure.
Yeah, I guess. There's another scene in this that's just very, it's not it is brutal. It's when Sheriff Brackett comes in on his daughter and her dead body in the bathroom, and it's just one of the, I don't know, it's just super depressing, and I don't know, it makes me think I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, anyone. Honestly, I wouldn't want anyone to feel like that, it's acted very well, and
Yeah, some people actually say that his acting in that scene is not good, but it's like, that's a man breaking down.
Yeah, I don't know. Usually you're not, prepared to break down. It's just something that...
Yeah, and even like, he's like, where is she?
I thought that was a little funny, but...
Him saying,
God, please. Oh, God. No! No!
It reminded me of,
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell.
It's still a good scene. We're just because we're laughing at it doesn't mean it's not good.
No, I thought it was still really greatly acted. Because, there's just no way someone could just react in a good way to that.
Yeah, exactly. Sawyer! The god of fun facts is here! I got some sexy hot facts for you.
You don't have to do this. Just go into the facts. You don't need to introduce me to them every time. I know what's about to happen. Alright? Just go into them.
I thought of that shit meticulously, homie. So when Laurie goes to the costume party and she hears the band play, they're actually playing the song Terror Train, which is actually a movie that... It's a movie that Jamie Lee Curtis stars in. So,
and that's the original?
And that was the original Laurie Strode. And Weird Al's only condition for being in this movie is that he got to pick out his own wardrobe. So, that was the only condition.
Yeah, that seems like something he'd do.
So the word fuck and its derivatives are used, I believe, 112 times throughout the movie.
Jesus. So, well, probably half of them were in the one scene where the dude's in the van.
Just bleeding out of his mouth.
Ah! Fuck! 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 Fuck!
So, and apparently Rob Zombie based Sam Loomis in this movie on Dr. Phil. How?
I don't know how that connects.
I don't see it.
I also don't, but that's funny. So, for final verdicts on this film, I personally didn't think it was all that good. I thought the beginning dream sequence and the end kind of climax was good, but when Laurie and everyone was kind of just killed, I thought that wasn't the best way to end it, and it could have been ended better. I don't necessarily know how, but that's just how I feel.
So my final verdict on this movie is, I thought I was going to like this movie more than I did coming into it. So it is still my favorite out of the duology that he made. For the story that it has, I think it's more original. It adds different elements, and it's a lot more brutal. So in that regard, and I do really like the climax and how this all builds up to the final confrontation between all three of the main characters. Mm-hmm. And then even like my favorite shot in this movie is one of, you know, the camera shot of like the three of them together. I thought that was a pretty good way to end it. I also do even like the way they end it in like the dreams, not even the dream sequence, that like vision she has when she dies. Mm-hmm. I think it leaves it kind of ambiguous to what it is.
Yeah, it just kind of furthers that connection that Michael Myers and Laurie had.
Yeah, but overall, I do think it is good, but not as good as I remembered it.
So what would you rate it?
I'd probably rate this a 4 out of 5. I'm probably going to go with a 3.5 out of 5.
Well, I'd probably go with probably a 2, because I'd say it's definitely worth the watch, but a lot of parts won't leave you as happy or, I don't know, fulfilled as you'd want them to be.
So that'll be it for this raunchy review. Remember to leave a comment down below if you have anything else you want to say, or if you have any movies to recommend to us, and we'll probably get around to reviewing them. Make sure to leave a like on this video or dislike. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, because that subscribe button will be waiting for everybody, and I believe we're done here. So, deuces. I feel like we're zooming through this one. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it helps when there's not a lot of fucking plot and the characters aren't very fucking developed. I feel bad because I like this movie.